Well, talk about what you've seen for your guys the first 3 days.
Ooh, it's been fun, but again, because they're just in shells and shorts, it's hard to really get a feel. Now I can tell guys are running well and doing that, but they have no fear because they know they can't get hit. So we're making a lot of good looking catches, and the biggest thing that I guess I've been impressed with is they're getting lined up correctly. Even the tempo of the way they're sprinting out on the field. But I guess, to be real honest, missing T-Zac and losing Cody and obviously Darvin Adams, that hurts. That hurts because those guys were not just good players, they were good leaders. And now we're trying to develop the guys that we have. But, y'all know my deal. I tell them all those good players are gone. So we're going to find out what we're made out of with the guys that we have left.
You got that other saying about you can't make the club from the tub. You got
Absolutely.
Trevon Reed and Angela been talk about their progress and they're staying healthy.
They're staying healthy so far, and they all here. That's pretty good. You got good memory right there because they heard it just a few minutes ago. I thought maybe he was out there or something because, I want them to understand that because you can't, you really can't help us if you're on the sideline watching. And for those guys, everybody knows, God has blessed D'Angelo with a lot of ability. He gives them the tools. Now it's up to him to go out there and use them. And if anybody's time is due, it's definitely his. And even Trevon, y'all heard me say like a limo with no gas. They both look pretty, but you can't do nothing with them because there's no fuel. And we need them to go out there and be fueled up and ready to go. But I think they feel pretty good. Somehow they found out that the only two teams that didn't get a single vote to win the conference was us and Vanderbilt, and I think that helps too. So
how are Quan and Sammy and Jalen doing first couple of days?
Again, their head is spinning because you're throwing a lot at them. We're different than most teams. We don't go from part to whole. We go from whole to part. We find out what you can do, how much can you handle. We try to put as much pressure on those guys mentally as we do physically to see if when the game comes, can they handle that. So they're struggling, but, we'll be able to pare it down, and once we put the pads on, we'll find out what each one of them can bring to the table. But we can see that they're talented. Just find out what they can learn and how much they can comprehend, and then how much they can execute will be the difference.
We've heard Quan's name come up a lot as somebody who's been kind of impressive. So what raw material, what kind of potential do you see in him that makes him special?
They might be confusing him with Q because I call them both Q. Because whoever's closest, they'd have to look. So. But, I tell them we have a route named after him. I definitely wouldn't mess that route up. If it's a Q route, you need to run it like that. But I think just from his ability to make people miss. And again, I'm telling them they're in shorts. I've got a 13-year-old that she can do well out there too in shorts because she know they're not going to hit her. And by the way, she finished second in the AAU meet, just so y'all know, long jump. So if y'all looking for a long jumper, y'all help me out. It's not to pay for no school. But with those guys, just seeing their athletic ability is what they're talking about. Because when you see a kid in space do things, but when the defense is just pulling your flag right now, we're going to find out when the action picks up. And I am excited about it. I don't want to make it sound pessimistic, but, they don't have any experience at all, obviously, and they never played in this league. And they're going against guys that haven't played in this league, that have either been backups or played minimal in this league, so they're getting a little bit of taste of what it's like. You guys looked at the West. That's like being in the NFL. So for us, we got our work cut out, and that's what we're going to concentrate and focus on is just getting our football team better. I don't know how many wins we're going to have, but I know our football team is going to improve each week.
So the guy coming back that's been out trying to get back to full speed, Gervonta talked about.
I've been really proud of him because, with that knee, him coming back out there and, being able to go back out there and not think about it and just play. I've seen a lot of that from him where, I had guys that came back and they're getting ready to land on that leg and they're trying to switch to the other leg because of the mental side of it. And I try to tell them, the doctors wouldn't put you back out there if it wasn't working, if it wasn't healthy. But it's easy for me to say that. Mentally for them, it's hard to go through until you break that scar tissue, until you get out there and get hit again. But Trevonta's done a good job. He really has. His dad's a military guy, so I told him he don't own a gun, he drives a gun. You probably would do what he tells you to do, son. And he's excited about the chance to be out there and be a starter, and I see it on his face. So he's been rotating in with the ones, and so that's helped him. The hunger of trying to get out there and be a starter, rather than over there holding up on them signs, doing that. That ain't his cup of tea. So But you can tell I'm pretty proud of him. I really am, because I didn't think going into it that he was going to be ready.
What do guys like Emory and Philip Butzenkirchen mean in camp? I mean, how big is it to have two guys like that?
It's huge. You know, Emory Blake, when I went back, one of my jobs is to check the locker room. I go back into Emory Blake, he's walking through picking up towels and making sure that it's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, that's not in his contract. That's not, you know, when he signed that scholarship, it didn't say that I need to stay and pick up behind my teammates. But that's the type of kid he is. I've been watching how he's working with Sammy Coates and some of the young guys, keeping him after practice and doing some of those things. So he has a lot of football in him, you know, just from being born into that family with his father being an NFL player and really educating him and schooling him up. So him and Lutz both bring that to the table. And a calming deal for the other guys. I mean, they see those two guys and they talk to him about routes, and the guys flustered from me getting on them, whatever, they know to put their arm around him and bring him back in the fold, because my arms are short. I don't really get to reach around very many of them, but those guys do a better job. So that's what those two bring to the table.
I know Uzuma has kind of played a bunch of different positions. Have you worked with him much at wide receiver?
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Uzuma.
Oh,
I know,
CJ. Uzuma. I'm sorry. I really didn't know what you said. Just call him CJ. That's what I do.
CJ.
Yeah, CJ. You know, CJ's very smart. Anytime you can get a kid like he and Quan, guys that have played quarterback, that's why Cody was so good out on the perimeter, because when a kid plays quarterback, he knows the whole picture. Most guys get locked into just their job. These guys understand the game, and that's what CJ brings. And plus, it's not bad that he's 6'6", 248 pounds. You know, I like that about him too. So I asked him if I could borrow his body for the weekend, but he wouldn't give it up. I mean, told him I'd give it to him on Monday. But he's done a great job of learning. I saw him turn around and talk to a veteran kid about something. I was like, oh, that's impressive. And he was talking to a kid that lines up in the backfield. And he lines up outside, but he fixed the kid that was lining in the backfield. So I think his learning curve is going to be really quick. You know, coming out there and the physical side of it hasn't really set in because we haven't put the pads on, but watching him get lined up, watching him talk to other guys and I've been impressed with him. So, guys, we're going to play some young guys. We got no choice, just the simple math of it. We're going to have to play some of those young guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Y'all are the best.